UK Chancellor George Osborne said last month that he was open to radical change in the retirement system and the idea that pensions could be taxed like the popular savings vehicles known as ISAs. With me today to discuss the proposal is Dave Roberts, pension policy expert at investment consultancy Towers Watson. Thanks for joining me, Dave.
It's a pleasure.
So what exactly has George Osborne proposed?
Well, the government published a consultation paper. It's very open, it's very light on detail, but the central premise is that actually we might move away from the current pensions tax regime. Currently, pensions, the input is tax-free, the investment return is tax-free, but the benefit that emerges is taxable, or at least 3/4 of it is taxable. And the government has said that it's open to changing that around, to actually flipping it on its head, so that all pension input would be taxable, the investment return would again be tax-free, but the emerging benefit would be tax-free.
And that would be similar to the ISA
That would be very similar to ISA. It wouldn't be the same as ISA because the government has recognised that if you're asking people to lock away their savings until age 55, then actually they need some sort of incentive, some sort of compensation for that long locked away period. And so they're proposing that there would be some sort of government match on those contributions. It's probably also worth saying that there's a strong indication in the consultation that the government is looking to strip some money out of the system. It's looking to make the tax reliefs less generous because it says that one of the principles of reform is that any new regime would have to be sustainable.
And of course, the Pensions Minister, Ros Altman, has said that she thinks that some of these ideas could be dangerous for savers. Does that make sense to you?
I can see a number of dangers. One of the main issues is one of trust. If you are paying tax on your pension savings now, but are told actually it's going to come out as tax-free, well, if you are not going to be receiving your pension until age 55, that could be 10, 20, 30 years' time, how confident are you that actually a future government won't say fiscal position is very difficult and actually we might actually look to tax that as well. So that's certainly a danger.
And is there anything that you think can be done to reassure savers or to improve the level of trust between current workers and the government?
I think transparency would help.
Has there been a lack of transparency?
There has been a lack of transparency. There have been an awful lot of changes to the pension system over the last 10, 20 years, almost on a yearly basis. And so if you're in a position where each year something's changed, you know, how confident are you going to be that the current deal will hold? So, yeah, that's certainly a problem.
And are there any positives to the idea of taxing pensions like ISAs?
Yes, there are positives. If you are a saver, I mean, the current pensions tax regime is horribly complicated. There are many people who don't understand pensions tax relief. Well, many people don't understand pensions, or tax relief, or tax. And so if you can move from a system that people don't understand to one where actually it's a lot more transparent, it's a lot more simple, then that could encourage savings. If you look at the match, and there's no real details on what the match might be, but if you move from tax relief to a taxable input but had a government match, the government can actually play around with that quite a lot. You could do something so that for every £2 of pension savings that were made, the government might match £1. And if you presented pensions in that manner, that could actually be quite a strong, powerful incentive. And the government could also play around with that. It could target different groups. The people that it wanted to most incentivise, it could ensure that actually the money went to them. And the counter to that is that actually, unless you're going to spend more money on pensions tax relief, that means there are always going to be some losers.
And what are the next steps from here? So when is the government going to make a decision as to what it wants to do in terms of pension tax relief?
The consultation isn't at all clear on this point. It says that it's an open consultation. It says that there are no foregone conclusions. The closing date is end of September. So it's quite possible that actually we could see something in the autumn statement later this year, or failing that, in next year's budget. I mean, if the government wants to make a fundamental change, and this would be a fundamental change, the time to do it is early in a parliament. So if this is going to go ahead, I would expect to see movement on it very soon, with a view to actually implementing it quite soon also.
Thank you, Dave.
That's all right.
And thank you for watching. For more investment-related news, go to ft.com/FTfm.